top. 2, 2, 3.
All right, you know, yep, we are good to go, sir.
Well, I still have 7 seconds.
Well, yeah, I was going to start you early because sometimes you go on a bit, so give me that extra 7. Touche.
Well, I think I may have gone about my portfolio just a little bit differently than did Hunter and Megan. I'm going to start off mine talking about me. My journey was very similar to everybody's, and in many ways it was very different. As many of you know, I taught for a couple of years after I graduated here. I graduated here in 2005, and I went back to Florida and taught for a couple of years. My first experience in the classroom, I had no education course whatsoever. We will talk more about that. This was something that in the past few months, when starting to put this stuff together, it was tough to look back on. Knowing what I know now versus what I knew then. I mean, there was almost a sense of guilt that I wasn't better prepared to handle the situation. And the more I learned this semester, throughout the past year, I realized that the kids weren't as bad as I thought they were at the time. Here's a picture of my wife and I. And here's a picture of me and my folks back at graduation in December. We're gonna be planning to stay in the Blacksburg area. She loves it here. I don't think I could leave if I want to. So, now let me briefly go back. I wanted to kind of talk about previous experience teaching. In some ways, it made it easier. In some ways, it made it more difficult. That whole prior knowledge thing. I had to kind of unlearn some of the bad habits and things that I've learned for 2 years. I got this quote from Robert E. Lee in reading through when he was, I believe, the president of Washington College. We're reading through some of the NCSS things and stuff about education should touch the entire child. I think I was glad to find this quote. This quote from him. But I've done mine a little bit differently. I got a little bit more time to cover because I want to go through, I want to take a look back. I want to pull my journey back several years. But I'm probably going to do it in briefer time. I'm shooting for under 20. So, my philosophy of history is that you cannot reach back into time and just pull someone out of their time and place and judge them by today's standards. I don't think it works. And one reason I don't think it works is because what are people 100 years from now going to be saying about us? I don't know. None of us have a concept. Things change. And history, but I do believe people are people. And this is something that I always try to convey to the students. And that to me is what makes history the most interesting subject, is that ultimately we're talking about people. I went about this kind of like the historian's way. Each page I tried to, this journal to me was a story. It was a story of my journey. And I try to accord it with my philosophy of history, as if I'm going to go back and recreate the past, I got to try to put everything in context. That was very important to me to do that. Also, I wanted each page in a way to stand on its own. So someone could just look in and say, okay, this makes sense, this is what he was doing here. We're not going to get to all of this, so that is very confusing. So.